Deep in the rainforests of Borneo and Sumatra, where ancient trees stretch toward the sky and rivers snake through a world untouched by time, lives one of Earth's most remarkable creatures, the orangutan. Their russet red fur catches the dappled light filtering through the canopy. Their long, powerful arms, spanning nearly 2 meters, are built for a life in the trees. They move through the jungle with a grace that seems impossible for an animal that can weigh over 90 kilograms. But what makes the orangutan truly extraordinary isn't how they move, it's how they think. Their name comes from the Malay words for person and forest. Orang, person. Utan, forest. Person of the forest. And for thousands of years, the people of Borneo and Sumatra recognized something in these great apes that science has only recently confirmed. Orangutans share approximately 97% of their DNA with humans. They are our closest cousins in Southeast Asia, and the more we study them, the more that relationship feels less like a metaphor and more like a mirror. Scientists first began documenting orangutan intelligence in the 1970s. What they found shook the foundations of what we thought made humans unique. Orangutans were using tools, not simple sticks, but carefully selected, purpose-built implements. One population in Sumatra was using wooden probes to extract seeds from hard-shelled fruit, a technique requiring planning and precision. Another group fashioned leaves into gloves to handle spiny branches. Others used large leaves as umbrellas when it rained. The tool use was remarkable. But what came next was even more extraordinary. Let me tell you about a few individuals who have changed how scientists understand orangutan intelligence. There was Princess. Discovered living near a research camp in Borneo in the 1980s, Princess had grown up watching the camp's human staff perform daily tasks. Over time, she began to imitate them. She was observed washing clothes in the river, rubbing fabric together the way she had watched the researchers do. She used soap. She wrung out the cloth afterward. Behavior she had never been taught. Behavior she had simply observed, understood, and replicated. There was Fu Manchu, a male orangutan at the Omaha Zoo who repeatedly escaped from his enclosure in the 1960s. Keepers were baffled. They reinforced every possible exit. He kept getting out. Finally, a keeper hid and watched. Fu Manchu had fashioned a wire hook from a piece of metal he found in the enclosure. He hid it in his cheek pouch during keeper rounds. Then, when alone, he used it to pick the lock on his door. Repeatedly. Successfully. 3 times. And there was Kessie, a young female in a Sumatran rehabilitation center who, in her first week of forest school, watched an older orangutan build a nest and built her own the very next morning. Not a rough approximation. A well-constructed, functional sleeping platform. First attempt. These are not anecdotes. They are data points in a growing scientific understanding of a mind that works in many essential ways. Like our own. Consider what we know about orangutan cognition from a purely scientific standpoint. Orangutans have been documented manufacturing and using at least 54 distinct types of tools across different wild populations. That number grows every year as researchers spend more time in the field. They engage in what researchers call referential communication, pointing, gesturing, and producing specific vocalizations to direct the attention of others toward particular objects or locations. For a long time, scientists believed this was uniquely human. It is not. They demonstrate foresight. In one landmark study, orangutans were given access to a tool they would need the following morning to retrieve food. They carried the tool with them overnight, even though they had no immediate use for it. Planning ahead, anticipating a future need, choosing present inconvenience for future reward. This is the same cognitive architecture that allows humans to save money, prepare for winter, study for an exam, or build a house. Orangutans have also been shown to understand the concept of fairness. In controlled experiments, when one orangutan received a larger reward than another for the same task, the one who received less often refused to cooperate further. They recognized the inequity. They rejected it. Science is only beginning to map the depth of the orangutan mind, and with every study, the distance between us and them grows smaller. They are not almost humans. They are something better. They are what intelligence looks like when it evolved independently, in a different body, in a different forest, on its own terms. And right now, that intelligence is in danger of being lost forever. Researchers brought orangutans into controlled environments to test their cognitive abilities. The results were astonishing. Orangutans demonstrated the ability to plan for the future, choosing the right tool for a task before they even reached the location where they'd need it. They showed causal reasoning, understanding that pulling a string would bring food closer, even when the string was hidden from view. They passed mirror self-recognition tests, one of the most awarenesses in relation to Hawaii. And then there was Chantek. Chantek was a male orangutan raised by anthropologist Lynn Miles in the 1970s. Over years of study, Chantek learned more than 150 signs from American Sign Language. But he didn't just memorize symbols, he combined signs to describe things he had never encountered before. He invented compound words. When he saw a car, he signed go car. When he wanted dessert, he signed sweet eat. He had created his own language for his own world. Chantek also demonstrated deception, using signs to avoid tasks he disliked. He understood that other beings had minds different from his own, and he could influence those minds. Scientists call this theory of mind. Until Chantek, many believed it was exclusively human. In memory tests, orangutans have outperformed university students on spatial recall tasks, remembering the location of food sources across a territory spanning hundreds of kilometers with pinpoint accuracy years later. Orangutans are largely solitary animals. Unlike chimpanzees, who live in large social groups, an orangutan may travel alone for days through a forest territory spanning dozens of square kilometers. Adult males announce their presence with haunting long calls that echo through the jungle and can be heard up to a kilometer away. These calls carry identity. Each male's voice is unique, and females learn to recognize the calls of males they find desirable. But the most profound relationship in an orangutan's life is between a mother and her child. Orangutan mothers invest more time raising their young than almost any other animal on Earth. A baby stays with its mother for up to 8 years, the longest childhood of any non-human primate. During those 8 years, the mother teaches her infant everything it needs to survive: which fruits are ripe and which are poisonous, where food trees are located and when they fruit, how to build a sleeping nest 40 feet up, Orangutans weaving branches in a 40 feet up in the canopy, weaving branches into a platform, sturdy enough to last the night. This knowledge is not instinct. Orangutans raised without mothers do not know how to build nests. They must be taught. The knowledge lives not in their genes, but in the bond between generations. Different populations across Borneo and Sumatra have developed distinct local traditions, unique tools, unique techniques, unique behaviors that exist in one place and nowhere else. Scientists now recognize these as cultural differences, the same way we recognize cultural differences between human societies. This is what separates orangutans from nearly every other animal on Earth. They don't just survive. They accumulate knowledge. They build on the past. They pass wisdom forward. There is an emotional life to orangutans that researchers have documented with increasing clarity over the decades. Orangutans grieve. When a baby dies, a mother will carry its body for days, sometimes weeks, refusing to let go. She grooms it. She holds it close while she sleeps. Field researchers describe this behavior as indistinguishable from human mourning. Orangutans play. Young orangutans spend hours in mock combat, chasing each other through the trees, hanging upside down until dizzy, then doing it again. Play is how they develop the skills and social understanding they will need as adults. And orangutans are curious, deeply, relentlessly curious. Given any new object, an orangutan will examine it from every angle, test it in ways its designers never imagined, take it apart, try to put it back together. Researchers note that this curiosity often exceeds that of chimpanzees or gorillas. It is the curiosity of a mind that expects the world to make sense and wants to figure out how. They are also extraordinary foragers. A single orangutan's mental map contains thousands of food sources, each catalogued by season, ripeness, and location. They can remember a fruiting tree not visited in 3 years and navigate directly to it. In the dry season, when fruit is scarce, orangutans peel bark to find insects, excavate termite mounds with sticks, and collect water from tree hollows using improvised leaf sponges. When the environment changes, they adapt. This is not mechanical behavior. It is problem-solving. It is creativity. It is the same cognitive flexibility that allowed early humans to survive ice ages, cross oceans, and build civilizations. The difference between us and the orangutan is not the presence of intelligence, it is degree. And yet, despite all of this, despite the tool use, the language, the culture, the grief, the memory, the orangutan is disappearing. The numbers are devastating. At the beginning of the 20th century, hundreds of thousands of orangutans roamed across Southeast Asia. Today, fewer than 100,000 remain. They are split between 2 species, the Bornean orangutan, critically endangered, and the Sumatran orangutan, with just 14,000 individuals left in the wild. The primary cause is the destruction of their forest home. Palm oil is found in roughly half of all packaged products sold in supermarkets worldwide. Chocolate, shampoo, bread, lipstick, instant noodles, margarine. The palm trees that produce it grow most efficiently in the same tropical lowland forests that orangutans call home. Over the last 50 years, more than 80% of Borneo's lowland forests have been cleared for palm oil plantations, timber, and agriculture. Forests that took millions of years to develop, containing thousands of species found nowhere else on Earth, reduced to flat rows of palm trees stretching to the horizon. When the logging companies and the fires come through, orangutans have nowhere to go. They are forced to the ground in a landscape where they cannot survive. Orangutans found on plantations are often seen as pests and killed. The illegal pet trade compounds the crisis. Baby orangutans are captured for sale. For each baby caught, its mother must be killed first. A mother orangutan will fight to the death to protect her child. For every 1 baby that reaches a buyer, as many as 6 others may have died in the process. But there is hope. In rehabilitation centers across Borneo and Sumatra, dedicated teams of conservationists work around the clock to rescue, heal, and return orangutans to the wild. Organizations like the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation care for over 600 orangutans at a time, providing medical treatment, teaching survival skills to animals taken too young to learn from their mothers, and preparing them for release into protected forest reserves. The process is long. It takes years to rehabilitate a single orangutan. Young animals must go through forest school, daily sessions where they learn to climb, forage, and interact with others. Skills their captivity robbed them of. And when the day comes for release, when a young orangutan sees forest for the first time, the moment is one of the most moving in all of wildlife conservation. These efforts are working. In areas where forests are protected and populations are monitored, numbers are stabilizing. Community programs that give local people economic alternatives to deforestation are reducing habitat loss. But the orangutan needs more than programs. It needs our attention, our choices. Every product we buy that contains unsustainable palm oil funds the destruction of their home. Every time we share this story, we give them a voice. The orangutan is not just an animal worth saving. It is a reminder that intelligence, culture, and emotional depth are not uniquely human gifts. They evolved over millions of years in these forests, and they are irreplaceable. Every orangutan that disappears takes with it thousands of years of accumulated knowledge, passed from mother to child, generation after generation, in a chain that is now at risk of breaking forever. The genius of the jungle is watching us. The question is, are we smart enough to protect it? Like and subscribe if this video changed how you see the world.